I want you, the listener. Yes, I want you, the listener, to press the like button, the subscribe button, but more importantly, comments. Comments that you liked or disliked the topic discussed. What would you like discussed? Because you, the listener, are who is important to me so that I can provide the value that you want and need.
So there's a comedian I enjoy by the name of Michael Jr.
Oh, yeah?
Michael Jr. is about 6'4".
Well, it doesn't sound like a junior to me.
No, but he's a funny man. And he talked about a job that he had. He was there to put in his 2-week notice. Boss, in 2 weeks, you're going to notice I haven't been here in 2 weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
But your customers have seen that. Short notice, no notice, quitting on the spot. Joel, I've never given less than 2 weeks notice. I have been quit fired. Your customers deal with something else.
I don't know what has happened because it seems to have happened since the pandemic that the 2-week notice has gone out the window in not just the cleaning world, but it seems like in all industries that the no notice or the quiet quitting, as they call it, is more the norm now than the 2-week notice. I mean, when an employee gives a 2-week notice, I think owners are shocked.
When they actually receive it.
Yes, because I'm not used to this. I've got a story about a client. Everybody must think that owners in the cleaning industry are awake 24 hours a day.
Wait a minute, you sleep?
Oh, sleep is required, but I think everybody thinks that business owners are awake 24 hours a day. And this particular client got a text from an employee at 4 o'clock in the morning saying, I quit, won't be in. So at least they gave notice.
Okay, wait, let me get this straight. So they sent a text in by 4 a.m. This wasn't their 2-week notice.
It wasn't their 2-week notice. This was their 3-hour notice. I mean, they gave a 3-hour notice. Unfortunately, this business owner had worked to the wee hours of the morning, covering for someone who didn't show up on another shift and was asleep when the text came in. I don't know if the person had their sound on or off on their phone or whatever, but they didn't hear it. What they did hear was when their phone started to ring off the hook because the customer wanted to know where was their staff because they didn't show up. What do you do as the business owner at that point? Who do you call? First thing you do is you roll out of bed and get yourself together and head towards the job site because you got to get somebody there and have you. And then you start making phone calls to the other individuals that work for you to hopefully have them come in and relieve you so that you can go hire another employee to work that shift.
Hey, I'm kind of curious. If anybody's listening and has actually been through this, just throw in a, hey.
Heck, it happened in my business early on with a client. It was when my former business partner was still with me. We got that call and we had to go in and take care of business right then and there. I was driving there. They were making phone calls, trying to get other people to come in. And that was early in our career.
We've talked about better trained employees stay, the turnover that the industry sees. Not just your cleaning company, your clients, cleaning company owners, small cleaning company owners, mid-sized cleaning company owners, large cleaning company owners. If I understand correctly, the turnover rate's between 4?
Well, 400% is kind of the stated. I've seen numbers as high as 500%.
Oh, okay, let's be conservative and say 4.
That's 5 people per person. I mean, that's 5 people per job per year. So if you have 100 jobs, that's 500 people that you go through in a given year. Well, 600 because the 500% turnover plus the one in the job. So
right.
600 people at the high end.
Going back to how to avoid this or how to prep for it, we've said better trained employees tend to stay. So training is one scenario, and there are plenty of options for training with docs, both with frontline employees and with owners. But you're always going to have someone who's going to get a wild hair. They make emotional calls. I can't believe how it was last night. Can't believe I have to deal with this. Where's all this dirt coming from? That's your job.
I call it job security, but
we can't change that. So what do you tell the owner?
I've said it in a couple of other podcasts. It's trying to prepare for the unexpected. You don't want to have knee-jerk reactions. You want to have a flow. Whether that's having people that are on call as per diems, whether it's having a group of people that have already been interviewed and qualified for the jobs, and having a list of people that you can contact to help minimize the number of days that a job is open. Having extra staff, that's their job. They're checking in to see, where do you need me today? Obviously, the better scenario is knowing ahead so you can tell them a day ahead to where they have to be rather than day of. But that doesn't always happen because a lot of entry-level positions, people just don't feel the need to give notice. And because it is a very negative industry, it's hard to keep employees motivated, because that's the other part, is developing a culture where you're nurturing the best you can. Because people who feel appreciated are going to want to come in, even if it's not their day to work or their shift to work. And I'm not saying that everybody that you call on your list will come in because you call them if you're nurturing and have a very positive company culture, but the chances of somebody coming in are higher than if you're always negative with them. Even in a negative situation, turn that negative into a positive by making it a training moment. They didn't make a mistake. They created a training moment, showing them, okay, the customer's not happy about this. Oh, let's see, and do root cause analysis, work the problem backwards. Why did that problem happen? Was it because they weren't trained right? Is it because they don't have the right products to work with? The right materials? Are their materials damaged or not working right? Is their equipment being maintained? Is it broken? Did it get stolen? Is it not having the proper preventative maintenance done to it? These all have a direct effect on a person. So when that complaint comes in, and using it, no matter how bad a customer maybe chews you out, over the phone, in an email, via text, it's all about swallowing your pride, because as an owner, you want to maybe lash out at the person because you got lashed out at. But it's really internalizing that in a positive way and making it a training moment so that that person can take that knowledge and the problem goes away, not just for that time, forever. Because and then they have a sense of pride. Hey, I overcame this issue.
It sounds too like a lot of what you're describing for the owner is taking a very clear leadership role, not going immediately to chastising the employee, not going immediately to, this is an unfair situation. Why do I have to deal with this? Now I've got to call somebody in. Now I've got to get up. Now I have to do all this. I understand those feelings.
And those feelings are going to happen. But when you interact with your staff, you can't do that.
They'll catch your attitude.
Oh, they'll catch it. And they'll say, I ain't coming in. I didn't create the problem. Now you want me to come in and fix it?
Well, what I really want is for you to come in so I can pay you to help me fix it. Yes.
And it's all in the presentation. How do you treat the people? What happens when the chips are down?
Yeah.
You have to know who's listening. It's similar to that old saying, is integrity is what you do when nobody else is watching. And that's so true when it comes to dealing with your own staff, because they're going to hear the tone of your voice. You may say it nice, but if you're saying it through gritted teeth, they hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, dear owner, if you have had to deal with this internal dialogue, I can't believe I have to do this, and you have accidentally passed that attitude along to the person you thought you could contact to help you, you'd probably like a better result than you got last time. Contact Joel. There are training sessions. There are mentoring sessions specifically for owners. There are training sessions specifically for employees, and he can help your company be much more profitable. Joel, thank you.
You're welcome.